All right, boys and girls, we are back, brand new take aim, and excited to have Shawn Ferguson back with me from TrophyLine Tree Saddles. And we kind of did an introductory show before and kind of introduced, Shawn and TrophyLine and saddle hunting. But this is more of a, I'm going to say, tech tip, more of the intermediate process to, your setup. You have the saddle, and this is how we use stuff, how to use it safely. But we cover everything in this show, from the new mission platform to your tether, to the saddle itself, and to, which I think is super important, as we mentioned in the show, that, Shawn is leading, TrophyLine is leading the way to, getting this out to consumers on the, like, TMA, Tree Stand Manufacturer Association, which is based off of safety aspects. So they're doing all this stuff for safety. So, it just gives us so much peace of mind as a consumer and a hunter using the product that, you're safe up there at all times. So it's a great show. Hope you guys enjoy. Can't wait to have Shawn back on. We'll probably do another show maybe next month. So hope you guys enjoy, and make sure that you guys are using your lineman rope all the way up and connecting to that saddle first before you guys undo that lineman's belt. So always be safe. And thanks, Shawn, again. Hope you guys enjoy the show. And guys, today's show was brought to you by HuntStand. Make sure to download the HuntStand app today for the best mapping and hunting app available out today. Use the code TakeAim10 at checkout to receive a special discount on the pro version of HuntStand. But I've been using HuntStand for a little while now, more than a while, I should say, and I can't believe all the features. All the time, it seems like the guys at HuntStand are updating this app, and there's something new, but it's really changed the way I hunt. So check out HuntStand. Use the code TakeAim10. All right, boys and girls, we're back. Brand new Take Aim, and excited to have this guy back with me again. I know we did a podcast a little while back, and since then some new products have came out, and I think, Shawn, you'll be the first to say, but this is Shawn Ferguson from TrophyLine Tree Saddles. But man, it just seems like since we talked last, Shawn, it's like gone crazy with the tree saddle interest.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks I'm excited to be back. And we probably, the last time we talked is literally feels like it was yesterday because it's been a blur. Yeah,
I know.
Unbelievable.
I think for a fact, Shawn, we talked like the day before or the week of the launch of the platform, but it was literally the day after, the 2 days after you guys launched the platform. So that's crazy. It seems like everybody's, it had such a great response to that platform. It's unreal. Yeah, it was. It was very overwhelming, which and obviously super appreciative. When we were building that, we really looked at looked at the market and kind of the voids missing from it, and that's really kind of how we settled on the oversize of the platform itself. Seeing a lot of hunters coming from the tree stand world into saddle world, wanting and needing probably something a little bigger, a little more stable, very similar to what they're used to on a tree stand side of it, instead of going real small and minimalist. That's a big jump. And then personally, some of the things that we preferred. So that's kind of how we launched with the mission, and going through all the testing and things like that, we were blown away on how well it tested, all the criteria. And then to be honest with you, we talked about that a little bit socially or on our website, but at the end of the day, it's what the consumer thinks, right? And the amount of great reviews out there by a lot of people has been overwhelming. It's very, very cool to see. So and exciting. Yeah.
That drives us. Really. We thrive on taking an idea and morphing that through the evolution of developing that product, and then actually bringing it to market, and then then seeing the consumers taking it from there. So it's been amazing. I mean, we literally sold, a year's worth of product that we had forecasted out in a little less than 6 weeks. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. You see a lot of products come to the market and you're like, oh, that's cool, and I'd be interested, blah, blah, blah. And it seems like the Mission platform, man, it just seemed like it was sold out and sold out again. And it was like, man, I'm looking around and seeing everybody using them. And, just design-wise, it looks like it's set up perfect. It looks like it's set up so easy to use. And I think that you guys just did such a good job on that platform. And I think that key is like that exercise like you were talking about, and that simplicity at its best. It seems like it's so easy to set up that, it's one of the things on my list that shortly here when you guys get some more, Shawn, you need to let me know. I'm going to have to order one because just the ease of using that product looks amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was done by design, but a good friend of mine, Jeff Weaver over in Illinois, he owns Lone Wolf and Novix tree stands, and he's had it for about a dozen years now. So he and I started talking in November, December last year about developing a platform. So we started working with their designer, and we knew we wanted to make this in the United States. And so he was nice enough to allow us to utilize their manufacturing there in Illinois on the casting side of it. And when we started going through this, we realized we wanted a unique shape on the outside of it, and it's on purpose. You literally have foot leverage on every single shot angle that you could possibly put yourself into, and which is important in saddle hunting. And you can tilt it up and tilt it down depending, how you like to stand or lean. But what really helped it too then was, Jeff allowed us to utilize the offset bracket that he's been using for, a decade, on the Lone Wolf tree stands. And you take that offset bracket in the design of the V shape on the back of the Mission platform, and once you cinch that Versa strap down and cam the platform down itself, it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it's literally lock solid, which is huge, beneficial, especially when you get an oversized platform like the Mission. The bigger you get, the more it could, flex or, rock side to side, because as you get further
have some lean
edge,
to it, maybe. Yeah.
Yep. So our no pun intended, our mission going out was eliminate all that. How do we do it? And the team came up with amazing product. It literally rock solid.
Yeah, it looks rock solid, and like you said, that V shaped in the back of the platform where it connects to the tree, man, looks like it just made so perfectly. But yeah, it just looks like amazing product, and just kind of neat seeing guys. You probably get it all the time where guys are reaching out to you with new setups and all that stuff. But one thing I kind of want to talk about besides the platform, Shawn, was just like, I know recently you guys did a Q&A, and I thought it would be really great to kind of touch base from the platform side to, the saddle side itself, from the tether side, the whole 9 yards, some of your questions that you received during that Q&A, what was the most popular ones, and kind of just going over some of this stuff. Since we talked, I have a lot, or I should say new audience, so to speak, and I wanted to share this stuff with them and educate myself, because as you know, Shawn, we spoke previously, this is my first year in the saddle too, and I've learned a lot during my first week out in it. So I just was like, man, this is such a good timing just to reconnect with you and go over, some of the stuff you just did actually. Yeah,
absolutely. It's like you said, it was our first Q&A and a live one. It was fun. It was cool, and got a way bigger response out of it than I thought. But which just shows you, there's so many people coming over like yourself for the first time into saddle hunting. So I think there's just, people are hungry for information, and there's a lot out there, right? I always say you ask 10 saddle hunters a question and you get 20 opinions. but you could say that to about any hunter, though. And that's the beauty of it, though. Everybody is so personalized how they take someone's product, I don't care whose saddle it is, and they make it their own. So, whether, they're adding certain things to the molly, how they kit their saddle out, to, changing from Prusik to senders and everything in between, right? But that's the beauty of it. That's what's great about it. It's lots of options out there today and cool ways to kind of trick them out. But that could be also overwhelming when someone new coming into it for the first time, because, you throw a question like, what's the best saddle in the market on a forum, and, it's, watch what you wish for sometimes. Yeah.
It reminds me a lot, Shawn, of like guys would just picking out their bow, arrows, broadheads. It reminds me of that. It's so personal, so to speak,
sure.
And guys customize everything, and that's the greatest thing about archery and bow hunting, is every group on Facebook that I look at for, saddle hunting, and all these guys, they're all so proud of like their setup, and then they'll go, what should I change, or what should I do? And it's like all these guys are taking the best of somebody else's setup and and changing it to make it their own. It's just like, it is crazy, but it's their own personal thing, and I think that's such a connection with, like us being hunters and consumers with that product.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell guys and girls, when you're initially getting into it, find something that's in your price range. Like have an idea what you want to spend, and as a whole, or do you have ropes already, or do you need a whole kit? Do you have climbing sticks already that you were using, and you might just need a platform or ring or steps or something like that? Kind of have an idea, because if you're starting from scratch, you could get rather expensive, really quick, for the whole setup. Because I guarantee what you start with today, 12 months from now, will be changed. Maybe not everything. You may still have the saddle, but I guarantee you're going to change something about it. Just because, just like your analogy with the bows and arrows, you're always talking to buddies and what they're recommending, and you go get that, and then over time you start developing your own style and start tinkering a little more and start changing it. So and so that's no different from saddle hunting, and there's a lot of great options out there, and everybody offers something a little different. And one thing I say to everybody, though, is you can pretty much get comfortable in anybody's saddle. It's just you got to take the time to do it, and there's ways to certain ways you wear your saddle, certain heights you put your tree tether on the tree, and everybody's built differently, especially around the core where this product fits you, right? So
right.
It's some people get it right away, and they can jump up in the tree and feel super comfortable with it. Other people, you just got to take time to kind of dial that in, whether it's messing around at ground level or, a foot high, but once you do that, you realize how great of a tool it is, but you got to take the time. It's no different than when climbers came around, and people, you got your first climbing tree stand, you had to practice with it, and it's one thing to practice with it in daytime. You got good and comfortable and you're shooting your bow from it. Now do it at 5 a.m., in the dark,
right.
And come down in the dark. It changes everything, right? And saddle hunting is no different.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is so unique, what you just said is, I know that I had personally already made mistakes, and then just kind of went through that process that you just mentioned, Shawn. But what are some of the things just with the saddle itself, putting it on, and, like one thing I noticed right away is I don't really like to wear a belt now with my outer layer pants because of the saddle. Okay. So what are some of those tips or things that you've heard of to make guys comfortable, at least in that process, and then we'll talk about the tethered connection to the tree part?
Sure. That's interesting that you brought that up, that like to wear a belt now, because because again, everybody's built different around their core. Some people might find that great starting point to cinch your waist belt would be right on top of where your belt would be on your pants, right?
Right.
And that's a great starting point. But some find that they like to wear it right under their belt or right on top of their belt. It just depends, because if you're big, tall, small, thin, have some, might be a little overweight, love handles, things like that. If you wear it up, if you wear it a little bit high, the angle of it with the waist belt and the bridge might cut into you. So some people like to wear it a little bit lower. And it also depends on, if you like to lean most of the time or sit most of the time or kind of in between. Me personally, I lean 99% of the time, and then, I'll rest my knees against the tree to give myself a break. But takes enough leverage off that I literally can do it all day long, from that aspect.
Shawn, just real quick, explain the lean for people that have not yet experienced saddle hunting.
Yeah, so it's exactly that. So you're attached to your tree tether, and I'm leaning out, I don't know, maybe 30 degrees. I'd have to measure, see what that angle is, but it's basically you're not standing upright. You're all the way at the end of your tether, your feet on your platform or your ring of steps or something like that, and you're leaning out. Me personally, I keep I like to be, kind of the balls of my feet, middle of my feet on the edge of the platform. So basically there's, at that point I have lots of pressure off my feet and my legs, and I'm literally just kind of hanging there, right? No movement, but the beauty of it being on a lean is if you do got to move, it doesn't take much pressure, just a slight push of your foot left or right, and you move, you pivot around the tree. And the reason, personally, that's the reason I do it is if I know the deer are coming from a certain way, I like to set up so the deer are about 10 o'clock if I'm staring at the tree. And I do that because I utilize the tree as a barrier, right? So from them seeing me. So I can move behind the tree, watch, look at the edge of them and watch what they're doing, and also be able to draw my bow. And then again, that's kind of that's a great part of the tree saddle, where it's different than a tree stand, right? Normally tree stands, you're set up, either facing where they're coming from, or, if you're right-handed, right, you're offsetting it so you can shoot your strong side most of the time. And you're doing something similar to that on a tree saddle, but you're utilizing the tree itself, and then the ability to maneuver around the tree to get that shot or block their view of you at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. Excuse me. Yeah, one thing I've noticed, Shawn, that I've quickly have learned to really love the lean. It's starting to be kind of, I'm getting like you. That's like my favorite position now, and kind of just where I feel comfortable. I can see where some people, I think based on size, I'm a little bit smaller, so I think that feels a little better for me than kind of sitting all day and in that collapsing on my hips, so to speak, all day. But
right.
And I also like the versatility of that. I feel like even from the sitting position, I think mentally a reaction of mine would be to stand up or to lean anyways to shoot. So I just like that I would already be in that position, if you know what I mean. I'm already there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Even when I use tree stand, I barely sit. You know, I'm like leaning against a tree or something like that. But I have the same philosophy as you. Like, if I feel like I'm sitting, I get caught off guard, then that's just more movement, right? And whether you're going to stand up, grab your bow, you know, it's so I've always I like to make the least amount of movement as possible. And every people different, you know. Like I said, I do take breaks, and I wear knee pads, so I'll rest my knees against the tree and, you know, take some pressure off the bottom part of my feet for a while, but that won't last long, and then I'll get back to leaning again.
Yeah, exactly. So what are your opinions or some of the questions you got from the Q&A, Shawn, based on, you know, the connection part? So now we're talking from the saddle, tether it up and around the tree. So what are some of the guys that you hear, what are they doing most, or what are they asking most?
Actually, a lot of the questions probably were height of the tree tether on the tree. You know, I always tell, that was asked a lot, and especially new people getting into it. You know, a good rule of thumb I tell people is you start, you know, eyeball height around the tree itself, and then move it up or down an inch, because an inch will change, you know, believe it or not, as you become familiar with your saddle and have pressure on that tree tether. Moving it an inch, you can tell a difference. And think of it this way: is you move that tether up and down, it's changing the pitch, the angle from the tree to you. So, you know, if you're getting a little bit of hip pinch, if you go higher, it's probably going to put more pinch on you because it's pulling up. If you come down lower, it should alleviate that. And again, a lot of that you can adjust by where you wear your waist belt too. But a good starting point is eyeball height. I fall somewhere between my eyeball and my nose height-wise, and that starting point is standing on my platform, setting my tree tether up at first, because once you lean, you're much lower than that, right?
Right.
But that's just so from a starting standpoint. But I mean, I got a friend that he loves it as high as he can reach it, you know, and he's comfortable with that. It's trying, you know, figuring out those comfort zones for you. Everybody can find it. Like I said, it just takes time, you know.
Yeah,
a lot of guys will get it right away, but others got to work at it a little bit.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm a work in progress, so to speak. I do mine higher, and I don't even know why, Shawn. I haven't even thought of doing it at like face level. I do it way above my head, not way above, but you know, like 5-6 inches above my head. But
okay.
One thing I did notice too is a lot of guys have, it seems like, a different position on, you know, especially on the TrophyLine. There's the carabiner connects to the black, you know, tether, I guess. So is that what? Excuse me for the lingo.
Carabiner is like, so you got a tree tether that's our black and red rope. Then you got a prusik, which is black.
Okay, you know, that's what I'm talking about.
The knot that slides up. Yep. And then the carabiner clips to that, and then it clips to your bridge. That position too, it seems very funny that I hear so many guys talk about that position as well. Some guys like it high, and some like it almost low, like right above the carabiner, which is crazy. So it is. Yeah, I think it's, again, you know, it's a preference. You know, some guys like longer prusiks, some guys like tight, shorter ones. Some guys eliminate the prusiks altogether and put an ascender on or something like that. And some guys will slide it as high as they can, which then technically it's, keeping you closer to the tree, and you can only lean so far. The farther you come down it, right, you'll be able to lean out further. Again, it's a comfort zone too. And, once it's one of those things is, once you put trust in your tree tether and realize, barring that you have a good, safe tree tether, right? And once you put faith in that, you realize how good of a tool it is, because then you have the ability to maneuver almost all the way around the tree for a shot. I think that's important too. Like from a tree tether perspective, or even a lineman rope, is replacing those after so long. It's no different. We get all our ropes made from 25-year rope maker who's a rock climber and used to be an arborist, and so we use high quality ropes, and they're not cheap, but you kind of get what you pay for,
right,
in the rope side of it. And you got to remember at the end of the day that that's what you're hanging from.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, do yourself a favor and do your research on ropes and things like that, and because you can easily go buy a really cheap rope, and but is it worth it? and you should, like in the rock climbing world, and this is no different in our world. You should replace your ropes every 2 years, because the more you use them, the more you're using them, abrasion wise, going around the tree, they just break down. They probably last a lot longer than that, right? But from a safety perspective, that's what we always recommend. But the best thing anybody can do though is, at the end of your hunt, or definitely before you go back out, is inspect your ropes. And we recommend that on your saddles too. Just look over everything, because you just never know what happened walking out in the dark, or or you accidentally hit something with the open end of a broadhead or whatever. It's so many different things can happen. As you're walking around. And so
I mean, it is safe to say we
go through your product.
Yeah, it's safe to say that every time you walk in out of the woods, I mean, we get stuck or prodded with something, right, Shawn? Like every time. I mean,
absolutely.
Something tacky, sticky, pokey gets us anytime in and out of the woods. So it is a great tip to, like safety-wise, which is great, Shawn. You're having a meeting today, right, about safety, actually? So
yeah, I'm actually myself along with a number of people in the saddle community, Guys from Tether and H2 and Out on a Limb. We're all part of a TMA saddle committee that we're working with a chair, Rick, who's the chair of this committee. We're actually putting together the safety criteria around saddle hunting as a whole, and because there's a governing body for tree stands and safety harnesses, which is the TMA, Tree Stand Manufacturer Association, and a group of us met with TMA at the ATA show last year, and we formed a committee. So we're actually creating the criteria for the safety side of it. So what testings need to be done, what guidelines need to be done, what maintenance need to be done, things like that. That way it's universal. So whoever coming into the market or who's in the market have to follow the same safety guidelines. No different than what tree stands do now, or safety harnesses, or harnesses in the arborist world. They're governed by somebody, a different safety requirements. But it's just as this thing continues to grow, and more people are getting into saddle hunting, everybody got to be aware of the safety side of it. Again, you're You're going up in a tree, right? And so we take that very serious. So we meet again today. We meet once a month, and talk quite a few times a month in regards to it. So it's a long process. It's going to take 18 months or so to get it in place, but it was due for it. So it's good.
That's amazing, and I wanted to bring that up obviously just because like you said earlier in the podcast, literally it's you and that rope connecting. That rope is connecting you. And I know myself, Shawn, I don't know where you hang at, but I'm going up there quite a bit sometimes, 18, maybe 20 feet.
Sure.
And based on the tree, obviously, guys. I mean, the other day I was in a tree. I was 11 feet off the ground. So it's based on the tree. But basically, I wanted to bring that up is, like Shawn said it earlier in the podcast, you have to have faith in that rope. So I'm glad to see that TrophyLine and you, Shawn, are kind of leading the way. And the more we know about safety, the more that right out of the gate, guys putting this on and going up a tree, you're just going to feel so much more confident. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
One of the other things I wanted to mention, Shawn, was, a lot of guys are, if you want to explain exactly how they're doing it, but they're double knotting, kind of double looping the tether around the tree itself, the red and black rope. So. Oh yeah,
absolutely. I've been doing this for years. We actually make a post about this Saturday morning. Put a quick kind of tech tip out there, especially as you guys are using maybe smooth bark trees. If you because your tree tether has some type of larger loop on the end. We actually sew ours. They're sewn eyes, and ours are 5-inch. So you put that big loop around the tree, feed the other end through that loop, including your carabiner and your Prusik, and then push that tight against, the tree. And that works great, most of the times, especially if you have a tree with a decent amount of bark. But I always got in the habit of double looping it. So once you go back through it once, go back through it again, and then push that tight, cinch that tight to the tree. And now you don't have to ever worry about when you take pressure off, if you stand up or something like that on your platform and take that pressure away from like a tight tree tether, it doesn't slip down the tree.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just good habit going through the process of that. It's just those little things go a long way. It's one of those things you don't know until it happens to you, and that's exactly what it many years ago when I was using an original TrophyLine and I switched over to rock climbing rope to hook up, because it used to have a strap. It used to be a strap that you connected as a tether.
Okay.
And I had converted over to rock climbing rope, and that happened to me. As I took pressure off, I stood up, and it slipped down the tree, and I was like, that's not good,
Right.
And, and you start thinking of all kinds of options. And that's been, again, a great thing about saddle hunting and social media. See what a lot of guys, DIY, doing things out there from, almost putting like a ball, like it's almost a ball that slips up and pushes pressure against that loop so it doesn't fall, or an O-ring that squeezes the loop tight, and I just got in the habit of double looping it. That way you don't have anything extra to put on your lineman or your tree tether rope to make that happen.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot better than adding a piece like you're saying, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. It works well.
Yeah, one thing I mean, that's one tip I learned right away, Shawn, is once you get it cinched, you almost right away need to kind of sit down on it. And there's a few times where, just like learning, I'm trying to set up a platform or trying to get situated with the backpack and bring my bow up, I hadn't cinched it. And then you go to sit down and it slips a little, makes some noise, and you're like, man, in the dark, that scares the crap out of you. But that would be a great tip, just right away, guys, cinch it tight, sit in it, get it set, and then you're good to go as you work and do the rest of your stuff. But yeah, stuff like that can happen where it slips down the tree or whatever, but you double knot it and you get it cinched like that, you're good to go. It's not moving anywhere.
Yeah, one important piece to add to that, to what you said there, where you seed it. The biggest thing is like in tree stand accidents, was always stepping from the platform to the tree stand. A lot of times that's where tree stand accidents happen, right?
Right.
And it's no different for saddle hunting. So make sure, I always tell people this, make sure you continue to use your alignment as you climb up your sticks. Then you can put your platform on, but then make sure you step up on your platform with your alignment rope on, and once you're on the platform, cinch your lineman rope tight, keep it tight to the tree, and then now your hand's free to tie that tree tether to the tree and do that thing's hands free. But don't disconnect from your lineman rope until you have seated that tree tether. You clipped into your carabiner and you have sat down and put pressure and made sure the knots are tight and make sure it's cinched on the tree itself. And once you know it's safe, and then you disconnect your lineman ropes. So that way you're always connected. You just never know what happens. It's anything can happen. I see it on social media all the time. Where guys are going up and disconnecting, before they step on, and an accident happens. So you just got to get in the habit of one, always making sure you're connected to the tree 100% of the time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, you're right, man. It's such a good tip, and I'm glad you added that with what I had stated. I've been doing that, and again, Shawn, it literally goes back to that confidence. You just know you're secure, sure. You're safe, and you just have a lot more faith in your game plan and what you're doing. And because, like, we all have done it before, man. Stuff goes awry in the dark. So it's just such a way to, again, it's all about confidence, and you're up the tree, you're secured in with that lineman belt, and get in position and get hooked up to the saddle. But it's the only way to do it, guys. So make sure you do it that way. And last thing, we never want to hear about the stories of anybody falling out. Like, one guy falls out, it makes the whole community of hunters look bad, and I don't want that for anybody. So
yep. Absolutely.
With that being said, just make sure you do that and stay connected. And like I said, I guarantee you'll just have that confidence that this system is safe and you're golden, and you're going to have a great hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to practice. We all spend so much time shooting our bows, practicing our bows, shooting, getting confident. And a lot of people don't spend as much time on how they're actually going to hunt, and so I just tell people, put as much effort you do in that, because that's, you're climbing in the dark and climbing up and down in the dark and hanging from the side of the tree. You need to know that inside and out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know this was fun, Shawn, and I'm bummed we have to get off, but I absolutely respect your time, and I know you have a big meeting coming up, so we'll jump off, but glad we kind of got to cover a little bit more of the platform and some tips with the saddle and the rope, and just being safe and how to maneuver and use all those things to just make your hunts better. But excited for even the future, because I know there's so much more to kind of come out of this, and so many guys are learning and kind of stepping up the game in the saddle hunting. So, I know things are coming down the road for you. We'll talk offline about, but I'm just excited to kind of hook back up with you guys and kind of keep it moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I always look forward to coming on, and we always got lots of new things to talk about when I do come on, and especially here in a short period of time. So we look forward to the future, and a lot of new and exciting stuff coming down the pike.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, as soon as it happens, we'll cover it and do this again. But I'll let you get on to your meeting. But thanks again, Shawn, for being on, and can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And you guys, we'll see you next week. iTunes, Unfiltered Outdoors, and the Outdoor Podcast channel. And I'm losing my voice, so good time to go. Thanks, Shawn.
Thanks. Take care.